So we're going to make this little miniature rose, which will stick onto our cake pops. You don't need a lot of different things, so I've basically got some sponge cake that's crumbled up. So literally just a normal sponge cake, and you're just going to crumble it up by rubbing it together in your hands until it creates breadcrumbs. Now, if you've got a really crusty edge on your cake, you don't want to put that in, as you'll find it's difficult to roll them into balls if you've got the thick edge bit in. So we've just crumbled up the cake crumbs, and we're just going to add some buttercream to that. Now, quantity wise, I tend to guess. I just put it in until I'm happy with the texture and consistency of it, but you don't want to put too much in that becomes too sickly that people won't want to eat it. So we're just adding in the buttercream. We're just going to mix that in. So once it's all mixed in, you're going to take some and we're going to roll it into a ball. Now it's a little bit sticky, is mine. I think making it a ball shape is the most difficult bit. And when you've got it into a ball shape, we're just going to put it on here. So I've literally just got a baking sheet that's lined, just so that, not lined, well, it's got greaseproof paper on it, just so that we can put these on here without worrying about them sticking. And you're just going to keep going. You want to try and get them all similar sizes. So I've got a few rolled out. I'm not going to do loads and loads of them. And what I'm going to do is put them in the fridge just for 5 minutes to harden them just a tad while I'm melting my colour melts. For the cake pops, I've bought some new colour melts that are the Renshaws ones, so I'm going to give all these a try. I've bought a few different colours. So our colour melts are melted, and I'm just going to dip a cake pop stick into my tub of colour melt, and I'm going to push it into my cake pop, and I'm just going to give it a few minutes to dry, and then we'll dip it into the pot. So once it's dried, you can dip it into your colour melt and just twist it around till it's covered. Now if you twist it too much, you'll find it will come off the stick, so this one's moved a little bit. Hopefully it'll stay on. I'm just going to let the extra colour melts drip off. And we're going to use some flour and modelling paste for the rose, and also some flour and modelling paste for the leaves. I've got some green ready dyed that I can use for the leaves. For the bright pink, I'm just going to dye this to the right colour. Once we've dyed it, we're going to start with a really small teardrop shape. So I don't know if you can see that very well. I'll try and zoom in a little bit to see if you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to just put that on the board with the biggest bit down. Now if you find it too difficult to work with it on the board, what we can do is stick it on a cocktail stick. Just pop it on a cocktail stick just to show you, just on the end like that. In fact, we'll do it this way and then you can see. So what I'm going to do now is roll 2 small balls, and what I'm going to do is squash those down with my fingers. So if it's sticking to your board, just put a bit of corn flour down to dust the surface. And what I'm going to do is put a little bit of water on one edge, and I put that against my little bud that I've put on my cocktail stick. So you might find we end up moving it around a little bit and it ends up coming off our cocktail stick a little bit. It's quite fiddly with it being so small, so we're just going to put another bit of water on this one. I'm going to put it at the opposite side, and we're just going to wrap that around. Ooh. Cocktail stick's starting to come through a little bit. So I'm just going to try and pull it tight around the bottom of the cocktail stick to try and stop it coming out the top. This time we're going to do 3 little round balls. And we're going to do exactly the same again, where we're going to squash them. Make sure your hands aren't too warm, otherwise you'll find that they go sticky like mine has done. So we're going to squash them all down. Okay. And again, adding a bit of water to the bottom. I'm going to put it again against the side of there. Just move it up a little bit higher. Just squash that one down a tiny bit more. Make sure you don't put too much water on, otherwise you'll find it won't stick because it'll just slip off. So I'm going to overlap that over the other one. And we're going to add this one in. I'm going to overlap that one. And just try and pull them a little bit tighter at the start of our rows. And we're going to do the same again, this time with 5 balls. And we're going to keep going as we were before. So adding that on again. Careful of your cocktail stick because mine wants to come through the top. Like I say, if you find it easier to just keep it on the work surface rather than putting it on a cocktail stick, you can do that. It's quite fiddly either way. So we're going to keep adding them. I'm going to overlap them one over the other. So you see mine's coming off the cocktail stick. I'm just going to take it off the cocktail stick now. I'm just going to slot that one in between the others. Okay. And then you're just going to play around with it until you're happy. So you might want to bend the leaves back or try and fold them a little bit in the corners. Okay, if you want to add more layers, if you want it to be bigger, again you can just keep going and adding more and more until it's the size you want. Then we're going to take some of our green, again using the flour and modelling paste just because it's firmer than normal fondant, so it's a little bit easier to use, and I'm just using the Renshaws one. So we're going to roll it into a teardrop shape, and then we're just going to squash it flat like that, and we're just going to put a line up the centre, a little bit of water just on the edge, and then we can just stick that to the side like so. Now I would suggest letting them dry before we stick them to our cake pop. So this one that I've made is a little bit bigger, so I've added more petals to it. The best way to do it is just to add a little bit of royal icing, and then we'll stick it onto the cake pop. So I'm just going to put my royal icing onto the back of my flower, and then you can either have it directly on the top if you want, or you can have it to the side, wherever you think it looks nicest. Okay, and that's it, done. Thank you for watching.
If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.